Can I ask a silly question? I've never noticed this before.
No.
What's the administrator and poll worker?
That's a good question.
Are those the memory cards?
These are the memory cards, so there's 2 slots. The admin card will go in and it will stay in from testing all the way through election day.
Okay.
The poll worker card gets pulled on election night, and that's when
And
we'll
it
come
gets-
back and we get the results off of it.
And you get the election night assistants coming and taking them to a central tabulating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the poll workers will be able to bring the cards to a drop-off location, and then they'll be transported
So-
by security officers.
Two memory cards. Correct.
Yes.
The administrator always stays in
Yes.
with the scanner.
Yes.
And then the other one's for tabulation. The poll worker takes it and it's sent to the central.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Interesting.
The administrator is the backup
That's very
in
interesting.
case something happens to them.
Do we know what happens if there's a recount? If they say
there's
something's not quite right, we want to look at it, and what if someone says, okay, we want to look at it and we want to look at both of them, compare them?
Well, you always have that option.
Wow, you'd
I
be
mean,
surprised. I asked for just a recanvass and I got shot down even though I had the law on my side.
Well, I mean, there's what I'm saying is, you know, you could read both of them in and make sure the results are the same. But I mean, the best thing is in the year 2020. I mean, you got to have a paper backup system.
Yeah,
So you have
but
to
the state election
balance
board's
it.
really trying hard to make that not so, which would make every argument you had to pay for this $107 million boondoggle kind of disingenuous. Because what's the point of having these things that print out and have that paper summary if the state election board is trying to say for the recount we're going to do it off the QR code which no one can read. So why do we have paper at all at that point? Anybody?
As far as
Bueller?
the recount procedures, I'm still not as familiar with yet. And so once we get there, now what I would imagine is it would be a machine recount of the ballots. And
Right.
so the ballot's going back
Well,
to
I mean, the
scanner.
thing is,
And then at that point, depending on what I think it's going to be, is at that point, depending on what the margin is, it could be.
a lot of the pro BMD, like say Richard, he'll make this argument saying, oh, you know, you never know what someone's going to do when he'll say if they're marking a hand-marked paper ballot with a pen or a pencil. There's no pencils, okay? And what gets me is that he says, oh, you know, what'll happen? It's like, you know what'll happen? Exactly the same thing that'll happen with this system, because from the after the printer on, from the scanner back, it's the exact same thing. And you know that these scanners are smart, and they're not going to let you do an overvote, an undervote, or stray marks. It'll say, this is not sparkling with me. Take it out, spoil it, and redo it. So whenever I hear that argument, I have a big problem with that argument because it's not factually accurate.
Well, I can tell you with the paper ballot system, one of the things it's not going to do is say you bubble in ovals or something and then you circle a name on a contest. It doesn't pick that up. Because I know in Florida when we did a recount, when the margin was super narrow, we did the machine recount and then we had to go and look at the overvotes and undervotes. And so the machine doesn't necessarily catch everything, but you do have, there's a really slim contest. You can go back, look at the overvotes and undervotes, and then you got to make a ruling on them of some sort.
But I mean, the whole point is with a hand-marked paper ballot system.
Yes.
When there are problems like you just described, that's one vote, right? And that is, I mean, and if it's a very slim margin, I can understand how that's a problem. But the thing is, if everybody has not verified their vote and you have the QR codes, right, and with a machine system, you don't know if there has been a bug or if there's been a programming error or if there's been a hack. There's no way for us to know. I mean, that's the big problem. And it will, any of those scenarios will affect so many voters as opposed to the one voter who made an undervote or an overvote. See what I'm saying?